Welcome everybody, welcome to the Tomb of Illumination. It's all about the flat earth here, all the science, all the physics, querying all the bullshit about the globe. This video is about Enoch, what Enoch had to say. I'm not going to pull out the paper about the luminaries, but I've made notes here, so I might do another video underlining and highlighting what you specifically need to understand what Enoch is saying. It's not what you think, okay? Now, I'm trying to get to the bottom of the fact that this divine period here in the crossing, which all the religious stories are all about, the hanging, the crossing of the sun and the EL-lumination, this in relation to the equinox. Who decided the equinox was down here? Equal. They've only taken equal between the solstices. But, so you could say it's equal in that. It's not equilibrium in the cycle of the Earth's magnetic field. Equilibrium is here, the 6th of September and somewhere around about the 6th of March at this crossing point. Because this is regarded here as the 5 holy days in the Egyptian mythology. In the 5 days the sun does not move. Remember in the Christian story or religious story, you've been told where the sun does not move, it stands still. Might only mention 3 days, but where the sun stands still, and a lot of people over the years have assumed it was down here where it's moving around in the solstice here. But no. Science tells us that the moon is closest to the sun in September, early September. I've got to the bottom of it all. The sun and the moon are aligned at this point. This is where the sun is closest to the sun. And this is where they both travel around the earth. Like if you took photos of the sun's EL-lumination, you would take photos of the sun coming up in the exact same place for at least 4 days before it carried on down this way. And it's written in ancient texts that it comes down this way to the right. Okay? It's not about going that way. It's about September. Now what have we got? We've got 17 days between the 6th of September, which is the holy period, which is representing creation, the 7th day rested. So it's man's creation. It's not just the one-off earth story. It's about man's enlightenment. It happens in this divine period where the moon can give birth, in this Osiris story, where Newt couldn't give birth only on those 5 holy days at Thoth 1. It's in this period here. It's a special alignment between the moon and the sun, which is gold and silver, and an alignment with your star. So it's in this period here, everything is balanced. Okay, that should be the equinox, but it's basically balanced. So this is the equal between here and there. I'll read it right here. 8 minutes. There's 8 minutes of daylight, more than night time. Well look, it's coming down to the southern summer here. You're coming into more daylight. So it's 8 minutes of more daylight, right? So you read this. The days are currently getting longer by 1.5 to 2 minutes a day. Between 11 and 16 minutes a week. Well, this is the 6th day of September, right? If you put your 5 holy days on there, you've got the 11 days. Okay, so 11 days to the 17th day, because it's 17 days from there to there, so 17 days, so you're left with 6 days. There's only 6 days. So in 6 days, you basically got the that 8 minutes variance. So you come back here to your equal day and night, the 6th of September. That's where it all is. We've all been fooled. The Freemasons know all this stuff. All the divine stories are all about this particular space here. you know, dying on the cross, Jesus dying on the cross. There's the horizontal bar, and if you go deep, there's where's that? Could be the Book of the Dead. It could be another book. The whole story of the the divine story. Well, it's based on Osiris's casket. And where is the what's it called? The tabernacle. Ark of the Covenant. Where's that? Anyway, where am I going? So there's equilibrium, okay? Equinox, balance, I mean. That is only a period between that equinox and that equinox. And they tell you the sun is directly over the celestial equator. Now, I don't know if that's to do with atmospheric lensing or whatever. I'd like to check that out myself, but I don't quite understand that part, okay? I don't know how that can be central to the equinox, celestial equator. And there's, I mean, who's judging exactly where the celestial equator is? Now, I've always been a bit confused with the celestial gap between the two rotations, right? The two separate rotations, the southern hemisphere and the northern hemisphere. These are considered as the chariot wheels. This is what they talk about in a lot of religious stories, the chariot wheels. The sun driven by the chariot wheels in the winds, you see, because the magnetic field is in the winds, okay? And the wheels are going like this. So they're basically going like this. And as they're doing this, or actually the north is going like that and the south is going around it. That's what drives the sun and the planets, everything. Everything's driven because it all comes back to the central vortex of creation, which is the whirlpool, basically, the vortex. Everything is turning in here, all the celestial bodies, all being reflected out into our realm. And we have the two systems. There's the male. See, this is the Milky Way coming into the female. It's the male to here, and you've got the female coming up to here. So the two create the sun. That's why the sun is regarded as the hermaphrodite. It's the behemoth, or what do they call it? Behemoth, the titty goat, because he's become male and female. He's illuminated. He's found his divine half. Okay, that's what's illuminated. Man on earth can do the same. He can become illuminated consciously when he finds his spiritual feminine half, and with the woman she finds her spiritual male half. You are back. You've gone back home. You've become eternal. You don't die and reincarnate like everyone else. This is the golden life. So this is the system of the earth, where you get the field coming up this way, and some passes by, and even science tells you that some passes by the sun, and it does. What have I drawn here? Anyway, so you've got a field coming up and a field going that way, but you've got some carries on to continue on down this way, because it comes right over to the tropical, the sides of the tropics, Capricorn, Cancer, because that's the dielectric plate, basically, where all the energy builds up, where the chariot wheels are. Because remember, out here in the tropics is a blown up version of what's in here. And while we're here, look at this image. The vortex, the feminine half of that end of the Milky Way, and you've got the male end this way. That gets cast up in the northern hemisphere night sky. You see the stars from that image there projected straight up like that. But in the southern hemisphere, you've got to take this and go plop. So we see it the other way. We're looking back up this way. Okay? So this feminine part comes out of the south for the southern hemisphere. because there's two systems. If you get down to the nitty gritty, there's actually way more than two systems, but it's a meridian, you see. It's a meridian from centre north to the south. So every man has his image. So he'll get his one image of this Milky Way. But every man has one, because it's all coming out of that centre, all reflected out on his arc of horizon. So so if you're out in the south, you'll have your southern hemisphere Milky Way here. In the north, you'll have yours there. This guy will have a southern hemisphere one here. He'll have one there. All the way around. There's only one in the north, but every man has one in his arc of horizon. It's the way he perceives his universe, looking within his arc, man's arc of horizon. Everything is cast onto his atmospheric dome, dome of perspective. He's always 90 degrees to zenith. Everything's coming back perpendicular. So in Enoch's story here, you've got all the gates with the sun being the Christ walking across the water as it moves in the season, coming out of the different gates. It's pretty self-explanatory. 6 portals on the east, 6 on the west. So you look at it this way. If you draw your so there's your cross section of your man's arc of horizon, and look at that as a plan view looking down on it. You're there in the centre, and you're always on a meridian, right? North to south meridian. So your east and west is right angles to wherever you are. You've got a compass aiming north and south, obviously. So it doesn't matter where you are around the flat earth, you're on a meridian. So you have your own easterly perspective and westerly perspective. And these will be your gates you see coming up from the east to the season. So from a southern hemisphere perspective, someone's in the south, I'm standing there. The June solstice, it's our winter. The sun will be in the far north, way up here, coming up here. And come down to the December solstice, we'll see the sun coming around from here, way down here, beyond east. Comes right around here. That's proof that at the southern hemisphere it spirals out like this for the southerners, and the northern one comes around like this. These are the chariot wheels, right? This is the gap, and this is east. Okay? But every man has one of these southern rotations where the sun will come out all the way around as far south on the flat earth model, that is. So seeing the sun come around further, right around here, because it moves around like that over the day, it's going north, it's going west, southwest, and comes back down, settles down here. So there's the big secret, everybody. It's all there. 6th day of September, the day of creation, the whole religious story. Maybe the Freemasons have tried to get you away from there and brought you down to here for some weird reason. So whether the sun actually comes up dead centre of that, who determines where the your dead centre of the celestial equator is anyway? Is there some slight atmospheric length where it's moved? Not exactly there, it's hidden. It's written that this is all hidden. So maybe you can't tell, because this is hidden. These are the holy days, the secret. Okay? Right. Start at the 4th portal. So in Enoch's story, it starts from the 4th portal. 1, 2, 3, 4. East. So it starts here. This is the start of the existence. The Egyptian 11th of September. Because there's the 6th and then the 5 holy days, where it's pretty well stationary. or from the 7th to the 11th, or whatever it is. It's around about 4 or 5 days anyway. So it starts to move. The sun will start to move again down, okay, on the 11th. Starts in portal 4, the 11th of September. Okay? Get longer while the nights get shorter in the southern hemisphere. The sun ascends and descends and does not diminish. Planet has got to get this in your head. That's the camera or lensing or something. That's people are getting on YouTube and showing you the sun diminishing. That's total BS. Cannot diminish. It's all equally spaced from you as the observer as it goes over your arc of horizon. But the luminaries, the stars, they tend to diminish, but they're not the sun, because the sun is tuned to the black hole and the black hole is tuned to our black pupils. So we only see the image of our sun thanks to our pupils. There's a tight connection there. As for the stars, it's different. So they tend to diminish as they go over the western horizon. And we talk about going over the horizon. You know what the word horizon stands for? Horizon. Hor equals to depict a hill or something. It's like this. Check it out go into etymology. Hor, and then rise on. Rise on. Well, it's rising on your horizon and it's descending on your horizon. Nowhere is it going below your horizon. That's spinning ball BS. Nothing goes below the horizon. It goes out of your perspective. Earth carries on, flat. Somebody needs to show me a page in science that proves that man can see forever. Man cannot see forever. That's his arc of horizon. If he rises up, his arc of horizon gets larger, so he will see further. Rise up, Daniel, you will see further. I tried to find that. That came to me from somewhere, I don't know where, but I can't seem to find it in the Bible. But it's written somewhere. Rise up, Daniel, you will see further. It doesn't mean climb a mountain, you'll see further. As a, that's a simple form, but there's more to it than that. It's basically telling you your arc of horizon will expand. Does not diminish and runs day and night in its chariot. The sun we see, not the actual central sun. Okay, so the sun, it's the sun we're seeing racing around the celestial equator, because the magnetic fields come from the south and the north and they're coming right up to the capacitor plate of the tropics, build up all that energy. That's the creating the heat. It's all magnetic, you see, and that's where we get the image of the sun in there. But the actual sun is back in the center of creation, right back in here in the Milky Way, and we're getting the image out here in the end of the Milky Way. That's the image in our atmosphere, our light spectrum and frequency based and all that sort of thing, and the moisture in the atmosphere. But back there, pure plasma is unseen. All of creation's unseen, we can't get to it. The sun is 7 times brighter than the moon. Sun and moon are the same size. The moon gives 1/7 when its light is equal. Now this is a bit of a tricky one. I'm going to try and get this in the next video. How you need to understand that the moon's energy, the moon's energy is the unseen moon. And that's created from the sun. And some mythological stories, I think it's Greek, might have something to do with Demetria and the daughter, Persephone or whatever. I think it might be in there, how she takes energy from the sun. So when you don't see the moon, that's energy from the sun. And I've told you in a lot of my old videos, you don't see the moon when the sun's in its face. It's the sun. It's not, the sun isn't creating the shadow on the moon, the part we see, the shine, the sheen, the skin. No, that's basically the shadow. So what's happening here is that The sun is on the, it even tells you it's as clear as daylight in the in Enoch's, how the moon becomes its, I think I might use the word brightest, energized or whatever, when it's in line with the sun. And you know my model, the sun is here shining across the black hole and new moon is right there, you can't see it. So it's when it's in the light of the sun, it's when it becomes its whole self, unseen. So the sheen, we see the skin, when the sun moves away from it, it's forming the shadow. And that shadow is coming off the black hole, because it's around the black hole, central black hole, right? So what's happening, the shadow, what do you get in the black hole? And where's Earth from? I keep telling everyone, it's from the hole. Earth is from the hole, so the whole image of Earth is from the black hole. So you've seen these videos about the moon, and the image of Earth on the moon, well, it has to be. It just seems to turn out that way. Otherwise, where's the pattern? Where's the pattern the moon's getting when the sun's turning away from it? It's the shadow, it's the blackness of the hole, giving the image of the hole, the Earth image, onto the moon. It's a bit hard to get your head around, a bit tricky that one, but anyway, let's move on. So the moon gives 1/7 of her, well, there's 1/7 of the moon's energy that's given to the sun, but the sun feeds the moon as well, so I'm a bit confused there, but what I've put down here is of her light resonant frequency to the sun, 1/7, the other 5 from the wandering stars, planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and 1 bass note from the Father Creator. I just pretty well made that up myself, so don't rely too much on that one. I'm going to work on that one, okay? Right, the moon's ascent and descent changes every month because it spirals down in here. See, it follows this S-curve down here. The moon is in the female part, which is in here. Okay, it's not out here, it's in here and reflected out into our realm. So it's doing the spiral. It's in there, spirals down, spirals back up. And every time it's going up and down, it's moving a little bit. Down and up, and then moving each month. It's every day, gradually over day, it's probably slowly creeping around. It just keeps creeping around. It's always moving, okay? Due to the vortex. That's how slow the vortex is. Month. In a measure, her light is given to her. Not by the sun. So it's really badly written. It's very tricky to understand Enoch. You start getting confused between the moon's natural light, which we do not see, the energy, and the shadow, the sheen it's getting when the sun's not on it. We're all led to believe that the sheen is from the sun. No, it's creation and our realm are different, opposites. So you've got to understand what's happening back in here in creation. Okay, what have we got here? The moon. First morning out of the same portal which the sun precedes, okay? I've told you in all my videos that the sun is quicker than all the celestial bodies. So the sun races ahead of the moon. The moon starts dropping back. The moon's not going in any opposite direction, it's just dropping back. Because the moon, it's all going one way, but the sun is quickest. And it laps the moon over 1 month. The sun laps the stars over 1 year. 2 to 1. Science knows that in physics there's a 2 to 1 ratio. When the moon's light is equal, she has given it to the sun. So once again, I'm a bit confused with giving it and taking it. So I've got to get a bit deeper into this. Because the way this is all written is it's the unseen sun. Because it goes on to mention it then comes out and starts getting its sheen, and new moon follows straight after this. So anyway, I might get more into that in the next video with the paperwork. The sun, moon not seen, then she rises. Not seen, then she rises. There's an image of what's going on, because the moon's going around all month, but this is the overall cycle. Look at it, cardinoid, and look right there, the sun, the G spot. Seen this image before? Can you imagine it? Full moon down here, sun right there. That's the loop, the cardio, that loop right down here. That's the S-curve plan view looking straight down the hole, back up. Basically what all the stars are doing around the earth as well. On the 30th morning, the moon comes out of the same portal as the sun, because they were getting it on in the chamber. They're getting it on in here. Every month, new moon, they're getting it on. But she doesn't get pregnant, she can't give birth. She can only give birth on those 5 holy days. And that's here. Okay? So she gives birth on this, there's a full moon there, there's a whole divine story, Jesus story. Full moon on the 6th of September. Obviously we've got a full moon every month, but nothing special happens unless it's on those 5 holy days. Remember the 5 deities that are born there? Horus, Isis, Osiris and that.